Okay, just completed the inspection of the property. Yeah, back in the van. The property is an old fibro house that's been brick clad, and there has been quite a significant history of termites. Have established that a termite treatment was carried out in 1990 by Barry of Impact Pest Control at the time. I knew Barry, and he was a reasonable operator. There is no activity that I've been able to detect, but there is quite a lot of history of termites throughout the structure, and it sort of extends from the southwest corner, or the bedroom to the southern side, extends right across to the bathroom, and then goes from the bathroom towards the front porch, and also the northwest bedroom. The flooring there has been replaced at some time in the past, but quite a lot of termite activity also occurred to those areas, and there'd be termite workings to the wall details in those areas. All in all, the structure appears to have retained structure. Yeah, and it's a nice solid building. Certainly no issues with the roof, no deflections observed to the structure. So yeah, you've got to really take it at what it is. Yes, it is termite damage. Yes, it is extensive in its nature, and it's also widespread. However, yeah, I look at it, stand back, look at the property and say, yes, it serves its intended purpose, it still retains structural integrity, and you know, people can live in the dwelling without a problem. It's not as if it's going to collapse around anybody's ears, but you've got to take into account that when you go and do a renovation or refurbishment, then you are going to have a fair degree of timber framing that may need to be reinforced or replaced at the time of that sort of renovation. Look at the video. There's a lot of information in the video. Take it all in, and you know, at least it clarifies what the condition of the building is in general terms. Any questions, get back to me and ask me those questions after you've viewed the video, obviously. Access to the inspected property is on the east side of the street, quite a long driveway. Still cross over the Council Nature Strip. Concrete driveway, certainly some sunken sections, a bit of a trip hazard does exist. Timber post to the letterbox, certainly decay to the base of that timber post detail. Water meter also located this eastern boundary. Dwelling to be inspected is a self-standing single-storey dwelling, terracotta tiled roof, brick exterior, timber fascias, or no, they're metal fascias, quite guttering. Valley metal generally appears to be okay. Timber window details. The dwelling itself is facing due north for the purpose of the report. The land has a slight gradient from west to east. Purpose of the inspection is a thermal imaging inspection, you know, for the purpose of detection of pests, so to speak. Garage detail with skillion roof attached to the eastern side of the dwelling. Bit of an aged detail to the fascias and the like, so you get a little bit of separation of the timbers. Always worthwhile getting those sealed in so you don't get moisture egress and moisture issues occurring. It does appear that originally the garage was a fibro clad, and then the brick veneer added later, with the fibro being an aged fibro more than likely to contain asbestos. The same goes with the eave soffit linings. They're all fibro and more than likely to contain asbestos. Timber window details generally appear to be quite okay. Very important to keep any of the timbers properly sealed so you don't get moisture egress into the grain of the timber and the associated weathering or decay occurring. Front porch detail, pretty straightforward type detail. Concrete slab on ground, unlikely to have access under that subfloor area from within the subfloor. Always a risk factor that these are areas where termites could potentially go undetected. The awning or the roofing over the front porch area, fibro soffits, really no evidence of leaks. The gutters have been backflowing over the rear side of the gutter with a bit of moisture markings to the timber fascias, a little bit of weathering of those timbers, or ideally they need to be painted up and properly sealed. downpipe, a small diameter downpipe, just free flowing to the ground. Not ideal to have free flowing downpipes. Always prefer to see downpipes connected to an appropriate stormwater dispersal system so we don't get excessive moisture into the various details that is attractive to the likes of termites. So something to consider is always getting downpipes connected to an appropriate stormwater dispersal system. Metal fencing down the western boundary, a bit of realignment of the fences. Trees on the neighbouring yard are pushing up against those fences, taking it a little bit out of alignment, but overall it certainly appears to be serviceable. Front timber window details all appear to be quite okay and serviceable, as does this western detail. Front porch has had a bit of movement and there is some cracking to that porch detail. It would appear that quite possibly there's been an extension of the concrete at some point in the past. Hall detail, carpeted floor coverings, wallpaper to the walls, wallpaper's just lifting off a little bit. Ceilings certainly look to be quite okay and no higher than normal moisture readings observed to any of those details. Looking at the areas thermally and not getting any significant thermal inconsistencies, all appears to be quite okay. Bedroom to the northwest corner of the dwelling, carpeted flooring. Apparently this floor has been replaced. I'll see that once I crawl under the subfloor. Walls, no higher than normal moisture readings observed, certainly nicely decorated. Ceilings look to be in quite good condition, haven't been exposed to a lot of humidity over the years, so that's a beneficial thing. Bedroom to the southwest corner of the dwelling, carpeted floor coverings, flooring, and nice and sturdy, timber vertical sliding window. The western wall and the southern wall of this detail has been exposed to termites in the past. Just beyond the wall is a external toilet, and we've got our pitched roof finishes at the end here, and then there's a skillion roof detail that's attached. Obviously moisture's got into the walls at some time in the building's history, and that's what would have attracted termites in the first place. When we look at the wall detail, certainly see that the repairs have been carried out to these walls on both sides, and those repairs are a little bit rough, and you know, obviously there'll be some concealed termite damage in that area. Testing the walls with the likes of a moisture meter, certainly not getting any higher than normal moisture readings observed to these details, so I'm not getting any areas that raise a concern that current activity is occurring. Looking at the areas thermally, once again we can see that thermally there has been some thickening of some of those timbers and mudding within the wall cavities. However, no indication of any current activity. Just as we go up above that picture railing, if we can see that, you can see that again you get that mudding that has been occurring in the wall. But overall, yeah, obviously the termites have gone left and right through those areas, but no indicator of current activity. We'll gain access up into the roof void, check the structure in that area, and also endeavour to get into the subfloor. Just hammering this wall, not hearing any loose particles of falling down the wall, and as I observe everything, structural integrity is quite reasonable in this area. Yeah, and a history of termites essentially not, yeah, is something that is part and parcel quite often of this type of building. Mirrored sliding doors, interior closets, all generally appear to be quite okay. Obviously things have been painted up, but I'm not finding any evidence of termites in this particular area. I do see some old workings in the toilet to the rear of that wall detail, and we'll look at that a bit later. Bathroom detail contains a toilet and bath, vanity and shower recess, visible floor waste or floor drain. Toilet nice and stable, functional. Water flow's okay, no cracks in the porcelain, no leaks observed. A little bit of separation between the southern wall and the floor tiling, and just some regrouting ideally should be considered so you don't get moisture egress down those areas. The bath detail has no vents fitted to the side of the bath. I do like to see vents fitted to the side of the bath simply because you will normally get condensate to the exterior of the bath when filled with water. And the other issue with the bath is the surrounds of the bath do need to be resealed periodically as part of general ongoing maintenance. What we get concerned about is moisture getting in to the surrounds of the bath when filled with water, and that moisture in turn attracting the likes of termites, and quite possibly a leaking shower recess or a leaking bath recess was detrimental initially to the initial termite attack that did occur to the property. When you fill a bath with water, you do get expansion of the rim of the bath, and that expansion does cause that seal to break from time to time. Shower recess, no evidence of current moisture penetration in the surrounding areas. All appears to be pretty straightforward. A reseal may prove necessary, but yeah, that is just regular ongoing maintenance. Extraction fan with the heat glows fitted the ceiling, and we've got our access opening up into the roof void located within the bathroom. Lounge room detail, no higher than normal moisture readings observed to any of these walls. Again, wallpaper just aged, some degree of preparation prior to redecoration obviously necessary. So looking at the framing, you know, all appears to be quite okay, no major issues with this particular lounge room detail. All appears to be fine. You do find that you get areas where condensate occurs, and that causes excessive peeling of wallpaper and the like, but you know, really nothing significant as such. Some of the door hardware obviously may need attention and striker plates installed. Kitchen detail generally appears to be okay. Timber linings and fibrous plaster ceilings generally appear to be serviceable. Timber window out to the eastern side. Laminated particle board benchtop, vinyl flooring. Yeah, fair degree of wear and tear. A little bit of moisture's got into the joints of the laminate and causing swelling of the particle board. Very important to keep the interface of the benchtop and the tiled splashback well sealed. What we worry about is moisture dropping down the rear of kitchen cupboards, and that moisture in turn having the potential to attract the likes of termites as such. Shelving under looks to be okay. Electrical hot water unit is a continuous flow hot water unit under the kitchen benchtop. Dishwasher located under the benchtop. Electric stove, non-ducted range hood generally appears to be serviceable. So just for some history, the owners left, house built 1961, house brick 1983, and yeah, that's just some information for in general. Impact Pest Control carried out a treatment back in 1990, that's 23 years ago. There were active termites, and they were found in bedroom 3 where we've already observed that damage, and the subfloor areas as well. So it looks as though the termite damage was concentrated in that area. It was treated according to the treatments that were carried out at that time. And the guy that treated it, Barry, is somebody that I know, and yeah, used to do a pretty good job when he was around. He's since retired, but you know, certainly an indicator that that termite treatment was treated accordingly at the time. Family room to the rear of the property, or to the southeast corner, carpeted flooring, timber linings and fibrous plaster linings, fibrous plaster ceiling detail. Split air conditioning unit to the southern side, aluminium sliding doors off to the eastern side. All appears to be pretty straightforward, no higher than normal moisture readings observed. There are a few areas where walls have blemishes, and some preparation obviously necessary prior to future redecoration. So looking at these wall details, generally appear to be quite okay. Once again, yeah, there's always the possibility that some inactive, dried or history of termites does exist, but not seeing anything that really raises a concern. It's the roof framing, all appears to be quite okay. Rear living area, carpeted floor coverings, timber linings, raked ceilings in this instance, so no bodily access available over this area, and certainly an area where faults could potentially go undetected. Wall linings do retain slightly higher than normal moisture reading in this area, so ventilation, yeah, obviously there's a bit of condensate occurring. Looking at the areas thermally, surrounds of the bath certainly do appear to have had a bit of a history of termites in that instance, and they appear to sort of have risen up to the back wall plate. So yeah, quite common for termites to sort of extend through in the wall framing from that area of that western bedroom, but nothing concerning in the sense of the structural integrity. Certainly see that the wall linings in this area have deteriorated to a degree. There's a fair bit of warping, damage to the veneer of the plywood that has occurred over the years, and that would be you know, more than likely due to some exposure to moisture over the years. So got to test what the condition is of the roofing. You know, this timber beam, nice and sound, and no issues there. So at least as far as the structural integrity goes, all appears to be quite reasonable. So again, looking at the details thermally, yeah, not really getting anything as significant as such as far as thermal inconsistencies go. You see the underside of that roofing, you will get a little bit of condensate occurring to the underside of a skillion roof detail, and the moisture just drizzles down onto the low side of that skillion roof detail. It is quite typical. Rear bedroom, which is the master bedroom, southwest corner, carpeted floor coverings. Flooring appears to be quite reasonable, as does the wall framing or wall linings and ceiling linings. Built-in robe, mirrored doors, all looks to be okay. Interiors, obviously there were old doors, and then the newer aluminium doors fitted to the exterior of that detail. So just looking at the wall framing, all appears to be quite reasonable from what I can see, and not getting significant thermal inconsistencies, also not getting any higher than normal moisture readings that really raise a major concern to this area. Looking at the ceilings, again, all appears to be pretty straightforward. Ensuite detail contains a vanity unit, toilet, shower recess, tiled flooring, visible floor waste or floor drain. Generally the interior of the ensuite appears to be reasonable. It is a fibro lining in this instance, so the fibro, being aged fibro, quite possibly contains asbestos. Vanity looks to be okay, drainage is good, water flows good. Toilet, water flows fine. No cracks to the porcelain, no leaks observed to any of the plumbing. Shower recess, get a little bit of moisture egress around the hob, and yeah, the shower recess itself generally appears to be okay. Lifted grout out of the corners, a reseal with a mega sealed or dia-seal type repair, something that one may consider. Surrounds of the tap spindles also ideally need to be sealed to stop any moisture running down wall tiles into the wall cavity. Quite easy for the homeowner to do. Remove tap handles, remove the cover plates, apply a sealant in around those details. No extraction fan fitted to the ceiling or the wall of the ensuite. Just no tiling in behind the vanity unit or under the vanity unit, so you do have some gaps to the wall details in those areas. Master bedroom also has a split air conditioning unit to the western side. Laundry detail, concrete slab on ground with tiled floor coverings, no visible floor waste in this instance. The old concrete tub detail. Walls and ceilings are lined with fibro, and it is an aged detail. Certainly a bit of history of termites that have come up through the wall and just come out those joints, but certainly nothing overly concerning. You can see that they've painted over some of those old termite workings that have occurred in this area. So yeah, obviously that wall between the external toilet and the laundry has been exposed to termites sometime in the building's history. External toilet detail, tiled flooring, again fibro lined interior, walls and ceilings, and this is the area where we can see we've had a bit of a history of the termites. We can see those termite workings that have come up through these areas during the building's history, and yeah, it's just a fact of life that wall frame has been exposed to termites, and then they've sort of tracked across behind the laundry across towards the bathroom, which is just a natural way of termites progression. We do see moisture staining where past leaks have occurred to the roofing detail above, moisture run down the walls, and it's moisture that attracts termites. So this moisture to the rear wall is where some of the termites have come in the first place, where you get that mould growth just over those areas where a little bit of moisture egress due to condensate and or leaks has been occurring, and obviously those details will need a bit of attention. So just starting down this western exterior of the dwelling, concrete paths, all appears to be quite okay. Downpipes in this instance are connected to some sort of stormwater dispersal system. Where we've got old tree roots and stumps, always a good idea to consider getting those ground out as a matter of good practice. They often will attract termites as part of the natural decay process. Interface of the timber pergola and the rear of the dwelling, that's an area where some of that moisture can come in, get over that skillion roof over the toilet laundry area, and yeah, those details obviously will need a little bit of attention. Some of the timbers are weathering naturally. The timber pergola itself still appears to be serviceable. Obviously the timbers have been exposed to moisture from condensate forming to the underside of the roofing, and there has been some degree of deterioration that has occurred over the years. Generally a stable detail. So, yeah, a test of time would indicate that it serves its intended purpose. So from what I can see, when Barry carried out the termite treatment 23 years ago, yeah, drill holes I can't see around the perimeter. He would have been using an organochlorine, so organochlorines usually have quite a effective lifespan, and rarely do we see reoccurrence of termites where they are applied properly. Timbers that are exposed to moisture coming in to the splits and the tops of the timbers, obviously you get a bit of decay, and you know, they need to be sealed. Metal shields over the top of exposed timbers, always a good idea. Downpipe to the rear is free flowing to the ground, but there is an old hole for the old stormwater dispersal system. It may indicate that the stormwater dispersal system has had some blockages. Coming along the rear of the dwelling, so we see we've got our skillion roof detail. Timber fascias are a bit weathered. Yeah, it could do with the paint up. Access opening into the subfloor is located along the rear of the dwelling as well. Very mature tree in the rear yard. Always a good idea to have the trees test drilled for the presence of termites and treated accordingly. Now with the tree, there is a fair bit of vine growth over the tree. Never a good thing. It really adds stress to a tree. It makes it more susceptible to the likes of pest attack. Timber deck balcony fitted to this eastern side of the dwelling. Again, just normal weathering of the timbers. They need normal maintenance, and no major issues observed at this stage. Awning detail over the rear, corrugated metal roof, no guttering. Ideally guttering should be fitted. They put linings underneath the corrugated metal. Condensate to the underside of corrugated metal obviously will cause that sort of sagging to such details. Additional mature tree to this eastern boundary or eastern side of the yard. Again, worthwhile just getting it test drilled and treated accordingly. Timber open tread stair. Where the timbers come down onto the ground, they will wick moisture from the ground eventually, get a little bit of weathering. Always important to seal the interface between the treads and the stringers, so you don't get moisture sitting in those joints and decay occurring, and then yeah, any timbers that are decaying always susceptible to the likes of termites obviously. Garage detail attached to the eastern exterior, fibro clad. A lot of the cladding, not a bad idea just to reseal the joints and get those details painted up. Where the cladding comes down to the ground, or we have these timbers fixed to the exterior, always the potential for termites to come up the rear side and gain concealed egress. A couple of sections of fibro where you get the cracks, always important just to paint that to seal in or glue in any fibres that may become suspended. Timber door to the rear looks to be quite okay, guttering fitted, and appears to be connected to the stormwater dispersal system, always with gutters. good idea just to keep them clean of any debris and silt build-up. No access can be gained up along the access is restricted along the eastern side of the garage detail. Again, those wall cladding details could repaint. Any stumps in the yard, always a good idea to get rid of stumps. Stumps quite often will attract termite activity as part of the natural decay process. Tree roots that grow in close proximity to the dwelling, always the risk that they're growing under the foundations. Always nice to prune those sorts of tree roots off. Electrical board located within the garage. Ceramic fuses, no earth leakage. Always worthwhile getting an earth leakage or safety switch fitted, under $500 usually for an electrician to fit such an earth leakage. There is no sign indicating any previous termite treatment. That really came in only after 95, so yeah, obviously a treatment of 1990, they didn't leave a sign commonly. So having had the treatment in 1990, obviously it is recommended that a termite treatment be considered in the future again, replenish whatever has been done. Garage detail. The interior of the garage contains a fair few stored items, furniture that obstructed visual inspection to some degree. Corrugated metal skillion roof type detail, pretty straightforward. You do see moisture markings to the underside of the roofing where condensate typically and naturally occurs. Timber wall frames. A little bit of moisture staining, localised decay to the base of the timbers. Really important to get the external cladding properly sealed so you don't get that moisture egress into the timber framing and the associated decay that typically occurs. That sort of decay, having timbers on the ground, could potentially attract the likes of termites, obviously. With the condensate that occurs, you do get a fair bit of discoloration of various timbers, and that's all due to moisture. Side wall flashings between the roof and the walls, a few leaks have occurred, a bit of decay or deterioration also obvious. All these timbers, direct contact with the ground, highly susceptible to the likes of concealed termite egress. We're not getting termite damage, but we certainly get decay and cubic rot occurring to those details. Obviously it's related always to the moisture, so if you can keep the moisture off the timbers, you don't normally get decay or deterioration. There are a couple of areas around the rear wall where the framing has been replaced at some time in the past for whatever reason. I'm not able to determine that, obviously. But yeah, the decay to the bottom wall plates are all things that can be dealt with and minimise that sort of moisture penetration. But certainly appears to be serviceable. Fibro clad walls with the fibro, when it's in place, usually doesn't present too much of a problem. Just got to make sure that you don't get the breakages, and if you do get breakages, just paint it up accordingly. Motorised garage door is in working order. So just looking at this metal roofing over the front porch, obviously been extended at some time in the past. Flashing details appear to be okay. Always very important just to get the horizontal joints properly sealed with the sealant. Valley metals, just some leaf litter. Valley metals and gutters do need to be cleaned periodically to stop any blockages from occurring. A little bit of corrosion occurring to that valley metal detail. Worthwhile just getting that painted up to prolong the durability. So firstly, looking at this interface between the pergola roofing and the external wall. Not the ideal detail. Evidence areas where moisture can get in are observed. Obviously the pergola roofing is an aged detail. There is a corrugated metal roof in over the toilet laundry area, but that is pretty hard to get to. Really needs a bit of a clean up. Certainly a bit of the history of termites in that area observed. Sewer vent should have been extended above the top roof line. Skillion roofing to the rear, evidence of rust, and that roofing ideally needs to be replaced. Once you get a roof rusting in that manner, always the potential for leaks to develop. Once the leaks develop, moisture egress into that master bedroom or that living room near the laundry, and yeah, the moisture could potentially attract the likes of termites. The roof has no rotary extraction fan or whirlybird fitted. Always a good idea to consider installing a whirlybird or a rotary extraction fan. When you do install a whirlybird, you need to install some vents as intakes to the eave soffit linings. Guttering along this western side certainly needs to be cleaned out in an appropriate manner. Ridge and hip mortar, certainly cracks, areas where leaks can occur, and we get concerned about any of these areas that I talk about moisture issues or where leaks or moisture can get in, is all related to the susceptibility of termites, so to speak, and it's all about trying to reduce the conducive conditions as best as possible. Looking at the roof detail, really no deflections that would indicate any loss of structural integrity to the roof frame or the like. Located within the roof void, thermal insulation over ceiling linings. Thermal insulation obviously obstructs visual inspection of numerous roofing timbers and top wall plates. It's just a fact that what can't be seen, and faults can potentially go undetected as such. No sarking to the underside of roof tiles. I prefer not to see sarking. It allows for a bit of breathability of the roof detail. Okay, coming into the roof void where there has been the history of termites back in 1990. Looking at these roofing timbers, they're all solid, sound, and really don't have an issue. Obviously the walls have had a bit of termite damage, but really not seeing to those top plates any significant warping or any major hollows as such. And albeit the termites may have had a bit of a nibble up here, but they really haven't caused any substantial damage within the roof void that I can observe at this point. So those areas where the top plate is exposed, nice and sound, no issues to those timbers. Some redistribution of thermal insulation within the roof void is something that probably ideally should be considered for maximum efficiency of the thermal insulation. So coming back towards the bathroom, you just see some old history of termite workings in that area, but obviously they came toward possibly a leaking shower recess or bath recess. Roof void contains a bit of accumulated dust and leaf litter. Leaf litter is cellulose material, can theoretically attract termites, and also could fuel fire. Just a good idea sometimes to consider cleaning out a roof void as a matter of good maintenance practice. Underside of valley details, really no evidence of moisture penetration or leaks. So roof framing over the rear living area all appears to be pretty straightforward. These hip rafter details all look to be pretty good. Some fretting roof tiles observed, where those roof tiles start to fret away too much. Individual roof tiles may need to be replaced from time to time as part of general ongoing maintenance. So some joints of timbers, you see this accumulation of dust. That's where just regular black house ants have been in, and sort of getting into the roof. It's not actual termite workings, although it's very similar in appearance. So just the floor waste of the ensuite, it does come out the rear wall. That is an acceptable detail. Okay, coming into the subfloor area, so under the rear extension or the master bedroom, ground is a bit moist, and you get this fungal growth, this yellow and white stuff over the soil surfaces. That's just a fungi feeding off the natural nutrients of the soil. Where the soil gets a little bit moist, you get that sort of feeding occurring. Now, because of the moist conditions, ant capping and the like certainly gets the corrosion, and no longer considered the most effective for the intended purpose, so to speak. Once that corrosion occurs, simply it could get corrosion holes through the ant capping. Yeah, that's all it takes for termites to go undetected, so to speak. Underside of the ensuite detail generally appears to be okay. Certainly do see where a bit of moisture's come through from the shower recess above, and then plumbers have been into the terracotta pipe clearing possibly blockages at some point in the property's history. So as I start to come up to the rear or the western side of the subfloor towards heading north, it gets very tight. There's the old concrete path, No access gained under that flooring just outside the laundry area. Just simply can't crawl into that thickness. Not seeing anything from what I can view from this distance. So the rear wall of the laundry, there is a bit of a drain for the vent. Inaccessible area up behind that brickwork. Simply can't get in there, but at least you can get a spray in that area if necessary. And caps not soldered completely and incomplete in some areas. Certainly plenty of areas where the likes of termites can bridge over the edge of the end cap and get into timbers if they so desired. So located within the subfloor, a fair bit of debris in this area, certainly bits of timber that could attract and or conceal termites, so to speak. Subfloor ventilation basically non-existent in this instance. Underside of the kitchen area generally appears to be quite okay, no major issues there. So to the underside of the kitchen flooring has been exposed to a bit of decay or vapour build-up that's come in under those vinyl floor coverings or tiled floor coverings of the kitchen. Bit of deterioration, quite typical where you've got such poor subfloor ventilation as such. Okay, coming in under the bathroom, certainly see that they've used expanded foam to try and seal off gaps. Just a lazy plumber basically. Earthenware pipes are aged and you do get a little bit of moisture around the joints, some cracks to some of these collar details. So old termite workings, dry termite workings to the surrounds of the bathroom. We already knew that because we saw that thermally, and it just goes to reiterate how important it is to reseal the surrounds of a bath detail periodically, because it's that sort of moisture that attracts termites in the first place. Okay, to the lounge room where we've got that wallpaper that's peeling behind the door from the hall into the lounge room. We see termite workings to the underside of that detail, and those termite workings go off in a westerly direction and then start going back towards the bathroom. So they've obviously come over this way, quite possibly a termite's nest being located north of the property, and these are just down leads, but there's no way of determining that. Certainly no current activity observed at this point. So the surrounds of the front porch, as I said right at the beginning, is susceptible to the likes of termites, and this isn't that far away from that porch detail. So our front porch detail, we see those termite workings that are coming up behind the fibro and coming right along this way. Various termite workings all the way through, coming right back and going in back towards that leaking shower recess that has leaked at some time in the history. So right from the front porch right across to the bathroom detail, obviously a history of termites. So the front bedroom, as I sort of said in the video, that the owner advised that the flooring had been replaced at some time in the past, new bearers installed. We can see where all the termite damage has occurred from the front porch. Plenty of termite workings, mud trails observed to the various details necessitating the replacement of that floor. They look to have done a reasonable job. I would, given this amount of termite workings that have been observed to multiple areas, nearly every joist, I would certainly get a new termite treatment carried out. You can see all these mud trails over all these bearers throughout this subfloor area. Unidentified pipe or drain in the subfloor needs to be capped off and sealed with cement. So we look at these sort of trails, they all look to be dry. Certainly not seeing any termite activity in any of those trails at this point of time. Everything looks to be dry. But as I say that they're dry, it still doesn't leave me with much confidence in the sense of that reoccurrence can't happen, and I certainly would be getting a chemical application to the subfloor area. A lot of this plant matter in the subfloor, certainly worthwhile getting all that cleared out in an appropriate manner as well. Any cellulose material like these timbers all could attract and or conceal termites as such. Okay, we're at the rear of the toilet, rear of the laundry, and we see plenty of termite damage in those walls. saw those things thermally through the walls, and yeah, this just confirms it. A lot of mud packing right up in the corner. I'll get up into that corner just to make sure that we don't have current activity. These joists that are lying on the ground, or wall frames that have been tossed into the ground, certainly see quite extensive termite workings, or fluting of those timber details, and yeah, all those timbers ideally should be removed as well from within the subfloor area. They could attract termite activity as part of the natural decay process. So we can clearly see where these termite workings or mud trails come right back along the floor joists. Haven't gone into the white cypress pine flooring much, but even so, they have marked it in various areas, and we've got that thick mud packing right over in the corner, yet to determine whether we've got current activity or not. So just starting to break away some of this mud packing. You see that it's quite dry. That usually indicates that there's no activity. Had there been activity, all that is a real wet, soggy mud, and you're not seeing any active termites in that particular detail. Appears to be quite okay. If I can get through, you can see how that mudding has gone up into the walls, and we sort of saw those areas thermally from within the dwelling. So no current activity, however, plenty of dried termite workings, and always the risk that termites could potentially reoccur, particularly if a termite treatment's been carried out 23 years ago and no evidence of anything since. So just a classic of where the ant capping has completely rusted through, no longer effective for the intended purpose, and yeah, so you get the termites bridging all that ant capping that is corroded. You can't reinstate that ant capping, unfortunately. You just need to rely on chemicals in the ground as such. Bits of fibro debris within the subfloor ideally need to be removed in an appropriate manner. So now you've viewed the video, obviously you're going to be quite alarmed. Probably a bit more termite damage or extent of termites than what was initially sort of assumed. And yeah, it is what it is. You've got to take it in the context of it being a building that has been exposed to termite activity, and that termite activity more than likely occurred over quite a prolonged period of time. The beauty is that I haven't observed any current ongoing termite activity, and that said, I still do recommend, or strongly recommend, that an appropriate termite treatment be carried out. Subfloor ventilation is non-existent, and the subfloor area, or the ground in the subfloor, is quite wet, and you know, that is really favourable for the likes of termites. In general terms, when it comes to moisture, moisture is something that attracts termites, causes decay, contributes to deterioration of building elements. So anything related to moisture always has to be high up on the priority list of getting that resolved and repaired. Yeah, termites, yes, there's been a history of termites. In this instance, I can't say that it's insignificant, but it exists, it's there, and at least we get some knowledge of where they've come in and the sort of spread that they've done to a degree through the building. The history of termites is one thing. We look at the structure, stand back, see if we've got that structural integrity, and if it's got a reasonable structure to the building. It's not overly concerning as such. Still, termite treatment is recommended, and things need to be improved wherever possible. Had I have observed termite activity, that would have been probably beneficial, in the sense that it would have forced a termite treatment to be carried out in the immediate future, and for some alterations to be carried out. So sometimes finding termite activity is actually a bit of a blessing in disguise. Areas susceptible to termites or conducive to termites are the areas that we get most concerned about. Those are the areas where future termite activity can occur, future termite damage can be ongoing, and nobody knows about it, and it's going totally undetected. So wherever we've got those areas that are conducive or susceptible to termites, Always nice to get improvements made, reduce the, alter or reduce those conditions wherever possible, and by doing so, obviously, you're reducing the overall risk of termites in general. Obviously the building is what it is. Things do come down to dollars and cents at the end of the day. A lot of common sense is always necessary. I've put a fair bit of detail in this so people get a good understanding of what it is and sort of how to maintain things or carry out certain improvements, or prioritise spending the dollar, so to speak. Take it in context of what it is, and really, as much as it's alarming, these are the facts. Video's great in the sense that you can rewind it, look at it again and again and again, and really get a good grasp on things. The other great thing about the video is that you can share it with family, friends, colleagues, tradesmen, agents, all the like. Feel free to spread the video around, show them, so everybody can see and be in the picture of what things are. I suppose that pretty much sums it up. Just on a closing note, I do appreciate word of mouth recommendations and the like, so if you're talking to people, be it on the internet or just having a chat, any recommendation is always much appreciated. Any questions whatsoever, get back to me, ask me those questions. The whole idea is that you get a really good understanding of this particular property and the various deterioration or problems that do exist to a degree. Just reiterating, it was only a thermal pest inspection, so to speak, so no building inspection has been included at this stage.